Good afternoon. I've got pneumonia, so if I sound a little rough, sorry about that. But I think this needs to be said. Like I've been hating on Gen Z and Gen Alpha so much, and I failed to realize that you might be onto something more than where I'm thinking about it. You might be onto something because I understand why you guys don't want to work. There is no point in that. You are 100% correct. See, I'm the generation prior, I'm the generation before you. And yeah, I agree with you. It's just not worth it, man. It's not worth the amount of life that you're putting into that for nothing. You know, I mean, where I'm at right now, this place where I live alone, and I've been working two jobs, and I work every day, like 7 days a week, you know, between both. And I still can't even fucking do it. And it's my rent is half. It's like half of what everything else is costing right now. And I still can't even do it, by myself. It's like I need two roommates in a studio, a fucking apartment, you know what I mean? Like I feel like that's how it needs to be. Like you gotta have an air mattress in the corner here and like another bed right here and take my table and throw it away, just so you can maintain food, water, and bills. I mean, I'm, it's not worth the amount of life force that I'm giving to the system itself, you know? And I get that. You guys are absolutely 100% on the mark on that. And I'm sorry. I want to apologize to you guys because I thought you were dumber than a box of rocks, to be honest. And now I understand it. You guys are actually really smart and intelligent, but you just have a very different and weird way and odd way of expressing that. And not all of y'all are, woke and for all these wrong reasons. Like, I used to be liberal, 100% I was a liberal. I mean, when I was y'all's ages, oh, for sure. What your age is right now, I was 100% against the system. I was rebellious. I said, fuck the school. I said, fuck the taxes. Fuck all this bureaucracy. Fuck all these policies. Like they're stupid. They're not there for me or anyone else or my community. They're there for them. And we all know who them is. Okay? That's the elites that run everything. The monopolies in this country, the fucking bureaucracy of our entire system, the bureaucracy of our school system, the bureaucracy of our medical system, the bureaucracy of our police departments, the bureaucracy of our courts, and the bureaucracy of our government. Like all of that. And then you get on social media and these social fucking what is it? Community standards. Look up the community standards of the 1920s and 1930s leading up to World War II in Germany. Like, it's the exact same thing. It's like they copied and pasted it into community standards from Hitler's handbook. Literally. I mean, like, the reason why you guys do not see faith in capitalism is because of the monopolies. Samsung, a monopoly. Google, a monopoly. Microsoft, a monopoly. The car manufacturers, every car manufacturer is so big, it's a monopoly. Can an average person like me or you actually go in and compete with any of these auto companies? Not unless you have, $1 billion to invest into it. That's before you even make a dollar. You know what I mean? The system itself is not, free. Like, in that sense. With communism, I get why everybody wants to go back to that. You know, if communism, when you have a lemon in your hand, you can just squeeze it and make lemonade and make money. You don't have to have money to start out. But in capitalism, you have to have a dollar to make a dollar, if that makes any sense. You have to spend a dollar to make a dollar. It's not really worth it at that point if you're spending the only dollar you have just to make that dollar back. You don't really go anywhere. You know what I mean? It breaks even, it cancels out. And it's just how the actual system itself is regulating things for me and you down on the small, like the lower end of everything. What we need to do is we need to just stop paying fucking taxes. If we didn't go out today and buy anything, if everyone stayed home, didn't go to work, didn't do anything, everyone just did that for one day, our government would go away. I'm telling you, it would take, our government would shut down, and we could actually be a free nation at that point, because we don't have freedom, man. Like, okay, think of this, listen to this. When everybody says you're free to leave, okay, well, if I'm so free to leave, then why am I forced to stay in this country like I'm in jail, like a slave, if I'm forced to have a passport before I even get to the other like if I'm going straight to our border, because you know, in between Canada and Mexico there's at least 2 stop stations. If you're driving, you know, you have to stop at the American border, and then you got to stop at the Mexican border. And I'm pretty sure it's the same for the Canadian border. I've never been up to that one. But it's like, you know, you have 2 stop stations that you have to stop at. And if you don't have a passport, you ain't getting through. And it's like, okay, well, how much does a passport cost? Right there. It's not free if I've got to work and have money in my hand to pay for a passport. And then if I want to actually leave and never come back to this country, I have to contact the IRS, the Internal Revenue System, and pay $2,350 to them so they release me from the tax system. Or else I'm committing a crime and I'm leaving the country illegally. You see what I'm saying? Like, where is that free? You know, if freedom was, you know, freedom was paid for by the sweat, blood, and tears and lives of our men and women that fight for it and lose their lives and give up their rights and liberties so they could be, you know, show that they care about everyone and around them and this nation, then why the hell do I have to pay $2,350 to the IRS? Y'all don't. You're telling me that every damn tax that's out on everything, you guys still don't have enough money to cover your spending habits. But I get shit if I take $20 and go up here to the fucking dispensary and get a joint out of the little bit of money I make. You know, or I get shit if I want to go and actually buy food that I want to eat and not go to a church to get stuff that's donated. You know, a lot of it is not something that I eat. Like, you know, I'm a very picky eater. Like, you know, spaghetti, cheese, milk. I mean, that's all I fucking eat. You know, I don't eat really anything else, you know, and I'm fine. But it's just the fact that where is it worth it at? I mean, I've never had a vacation in my entire life, except for when I was a little kid. Like, I can't afford a fucking vacation. I can barely afford to live, man. You know how far behind I am with my rent? And then I'm slowly starting to get caught up, and then all of a sudden, as soon as I get caught up a little bit, guess what happens? I go to the grocery store, and something that cost $1 yesterday is $5 today. And I'm like, now how the fuck am I supposed to catch up with shit? I don't see the point, man. Like, why should I follow these fucking policies, these mandates, and these laws in this country if it's like it is? Like, I get it. I totally get it. I mean, since I'm an American and I was born and raised here in this country, and I've paid taxes, and I've taken life time that I'm not ever going to get back. The 20 years that I spent in the seconds and minutes and hours and days and weeks and months of effort of working and trying to keep my life together as an individual. I'm not perfect. I made my own mistakes just like everyone else does. That's what makes me real and human. But the 20 years that I put into this tax system and this government system is gone. All right. Time goes in one direction. It doesn't stop. It doesn't slow down. It doesn't speed up. It goes in one constant direction. Okay. And once you have crossed over a second to the next second, that previous second is gone. There's nothing anyone can do. You can't replace that like $1. Like if you lost your wallet, you can replace your wallet. You can replace the money in it. You can replace the documents in it. But the time you spent searching for that wallet and the time it's spent to replace everything, that's gone. And was it even worth getting the documents at that point? Was it even worth working and trying to figure out how to replace the wallet? Was it even worth getting more money to put back in that wallet? You see what I'm saying? Like, was the actual thing worth it? And it's not. I mean, if you look at how everything is being made now versus how it was just 10 years ago, it's not being made to last more than 6 months. I mean, these phones, they send updates to them and they say, oh, it's for new features, bugs, and stability. Well, when I opened it out of the box, it was pretty fucking stable and it wasn't glitchy, so it didn't have any bugs. I plug it into the wall, it charges. I hit the power button, it turns on. I hit the volume up keys and down keys, and the fucking volume works. Fast forward about 2 weeks, and it's done had 5 software updates. And in between each of those software updates, it has like 3 freaking security updates. And after it all, you go to plug it in, the motherfucker don't charge. You hit the power button, it doesn't even pull up the fucking screen for, to turn the phone off or restart it. Like, I'm just using that as an analogy, and that really has happened to me. That's how I know this analogy. Same thing with my laptop. Microsoft sends it fucking updates nonstop, man. And if I have it on the internet, the fucking thing doesn't work. But when I don't have it on the internet, thing works fine. So, but it's not the internet, then what is it? If it only messes up when I plug it up to the internet, then how is it not the internet? Like, so what that means to me is, oh yeah, by the way, man, you've been shot, but don't worry, it ain't the bullet that's hurting you. What do you mean? The bullet was the thing that entered my body. Like, that should be what is hurting. That should be why I'm having these problems, because I need that bullet removed and I need the gun wound patched up. But no, they're going to treat you for COVID. Oh yeah, that bullet wound don't mean nothing. Yeah, that's not your problem. You need this booster, you need this, you need that, you need this, you need that. Disregard the bullet wound And meanwhile, in 3 days, you die from gangrene infection and an infection from the bullet wound because they didn't even touch the bullet wound. They didn't even address the bullet wound. I mean, that's the bureaucracy of the system. That's big pharma. You know, I mean, I get it, man. There's just, like I said, there's so many problems. It's like a mosaic painting. You know, the way mosaic paintings are made, you got different pebbles or different colors. And we're literally getting fed pebble by pebble, but you will never see the picture. You will never understand what the hell you're looking at by viewing it pebble by pebble. You'll never understand why the pebble turned from green to blue and then to white and then back to blue again. You'll never understand that until you go, oh, let me take about a couple steps back and look at it. Oh, that's why it's green. That's the hillside. Oh, that's why it's blue. That's the sky. And that's why it's white. It's the clouds in the sky. And then there's another blue one. That's the rest of the sky. Like, you will never understand what you're looking at if you follow pebble by pebble. You have to take a step back and look at it for all of it. You understand what I mean? And it's almost like explaining calculus to a toddler sometimes, you know. I think I'd have better luck sitting in the corner there with a pair of needle-nose pliers pulling my fucking teeth out tonight with no Novocaine. I mean, I think I would be able to achieve all of that. You know, as painful and as crazy as that sounds, I would wake up tomorrow with no teeth, you know, other than trying to explain this to a lot of people, you know. And I know I'm not speaking an alien language. I'm speaking plain English like everyone else. I can hear the words that I'm saying just as much as I can hear somebody else say words. You know? And I don't know, maybe it's my accent. Maybe it's the sh in my fucking pronunciation. I don't know. Like, I got that from a fight with my jaw, man. Like, you know? I mean, I'm tired of it, man. I don't see the point in this system, man. It's literally creates monsters. See, monsters are created, they're not born. Okay? Racism is taught over time. You're not just inherently born with racism in you. Let's see, you know, all these old sayings, like Sun Tzu from The Art of War, only an enemy knows another enemy. Think about that. The government itself is already the enemy of the people. That's why we have the Constitution. Because that's the only resistance and opposition that our government has. That's why they have to do things in a certain manner, because of the Constitution. But now, more and more people don't even know what the fuck the Constitution says, or what it is, or what they thought it said is not what it's actually said. And, you know, I just think that things have been changed. I think that words have been taken out and misplaced, you know, replaced with other words in that document, because I've read the Constitution 10 years ago and I'm reading it now, and it is not the same. It's something else. Like our First Amendment is different. Our Second Amendment is written different. There's more shit added to certain amendments that were not there when I first read them. And, you know, I do have a photographic memory. I can remember what the fuck I read. I can remember what I've seen, you know. And living in Fairfax, Virginia for as long as I did, and being able to go to DC and see, like, you know, the Smithsonian, and go to the Capitol, and all this shit, you know. I've done that when I was a kid. Like, I remember what I seen back then and what I see now and how different they are. And then I get labeled crazy as fuck when I explain, like, that's not how it was last time. Yes, it was. How could you say that? Right there just proves to me that something sinister happened to that document. You know, me saying like, yeah, this looks different than last time, your reaction, the government officials' reaction, like, you're crazy. How could you say something like that? Why are you putting that much emotion on that nonchalant interaction, you know? And it's just, it makes a lot of sense, like looking back. And I get it, man. Like, it's just, this country's done. Our government's done. They're the hippies from the 60s. Like, the American dream that's trying to be pushed comes from the 1950s. All right. That was the time of innovation, the time of us building rockets, and that all comes from the German scientists. Operation Paperclip. After World War II ended, and we got half of them, and Russia got half of them. Why do you think the Cold War was fought between Russia and us? Because we had the scientists from the Nazi war machine. I mean, all of this can be followed, through the decades, with our government being the perpetrator, the criminal in it. I mean, like, there's so many catch-22s with a lot of these programs that they say is there for rental assistance and food and, just transportation and health care and all this shit, man. It's all fucked up. It's all fucked up. And it ain't worth the money that we're paying for. Like, I can understand paying taxes locally, like for the town and the community that I live in. But I shouldn't be forced to pay a national tax. I had no say-so in how that money was spent. I have no say-so in any of it. Like, the fact that our government keeps giving billions of dollars to Ukraine and billions of dollars to Israel. Look, man, they got their own economies. Why can't they pay that to themselves? Why can't they fucking give out money themselves? Why do we got to pay for it? Why do I got to work fucking extra goddamn hours like a fucking slave to pay into the system? I mean, I'm saying that like me. I mean all of us. I'm saying that for all of us. Like, why are we all forced to pay for our government to spend $90,000 on a bag of fucking bushings for a jet engine? Like, why are we paying taxes for the government to spend $15,000 for a fucking commode seat? I mean, literally. Like, a fucking commode seat. Like, why is that 15 grand? Like, you can't go to Lowe's and get the $8 one? You have to spend $15,000 of taxpayer money for one that's got gold fucking lining and platinum plating on it. So when you sit down on your fucking throne, the little it's not as cold. You're more comfortable on your rump. You don't deserve a fucking platinum with gold lined fucking toilet seat. The U.S. government don't deserve that shit. Like, these motherfuckers in the 60s, the hippies, they caused the revolution, and that's when the American dream died. They killed it. And they kept the illusion since the 1960s that, oh yeah, man, the American dream. Why do you think all of the people from Cuba kept coming up during the 80s? In Florida, in Miami. And that hit the fucking country like an explosion. All these people from Cuba, because of Fidel Castro being a dictator and just a shitty leader. Like, he was mean, and they came here because they were told that the American dream was here. Okay, well, George Carlin said this during the 70s. You know why they call it the American dream? Because you have to be asleep to believe it. A dream is a dream. Reality is reality. Reality is real. A dream is fantasy. A dream is when you're asleep. Like, I understand that's why they say you got to follow your dreams because you got to make those reality. But when you think about it, how can you follow a dream if to dream you have to be asleep? You have to be disconnected from reality to dream. You know, even if you're daydreaming, you're still not aware of your surroundings. You're gonna disconnect from that and daydream. You know, you're not going to be attentive to the reality in front of you. You're daydreaming. Or if you're asleep, you're not coherent. You're dreaming. You're asleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, you understand what I'm saying there? Like, I doubt if anyone is going to actually see this video. Normally, when I make these longer ones, no one really views them. And I don't know if that's just the algorithm or the duration of the video. I really don't know how all of that works. I don't really trust YouTube anymore. I don't trust the online. Like, it's just being manipulated to all of us. Like, every one of us is getting our own manipulated information to this shit. And what I'm seeing when I search the same stuff in my Google is not what you're seeing. You know what I mean? And it's intentionally done that way to keep us divided. Like, do you know if everyone stopped arguing over what bathroom to go into and who needs to be on what team, men or woman, and all this social identity bullshit, and worrying about feelings and colors of the rainbow. And look, I don't care if you're gay or straight. I don't care about that. The problem is deeper than that. The problem is bigger than that. The problems that we have right now are bigger than all these, left or right bullshit. Listen, man, doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. Those motherfuckers are snakes in the grass, regardless of what party they're in. They're the same fucking. They're the same. They're the same coin. They're just two different sides of the same coin. You understand what I mean? Like, Republicans might be the head of the coin and Democrats might be the fucking tails of the coin, but they're the same fucking coin. They're part of the same thing. So they're doing the exact same thing. Both of them are. At this point, you can't trust the fucking Republicans because you can clearly see the problems that has came about the Democrats over the last 4 years. I mean, for sure, you can definitely tell the Democrat Party does not know what the fuck they're doing. And if they do know what they're doing, they're intentionally doing this shit. And if they're intentionally doing this shit like the narcissists that they are, then the Republicans are enabling their narcissism. So who do you really push the blame to? You can't just only blame 100% on the Democrats at that point if the fucking Republicans are allowing it to happen. That just tells me that it doesn't matter about who is who and what party they are representing. It's both of them combined. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Republicans are enabling the bad behaviors and poor policy making of the Democrats. And if they're doing that, then I'm not blaming everything on the Democrat Party because you can't. You can't just blame everything on one party. It's both parties that are doing this shit. And how do we fix it? Well, I would say look at history. Go back and read up American history. I mean, why are we America and not fucking Canada right now? Huh? Did you ask Google that? You ever heard of the Boston Tea Party? Oh, huh. I wonder what the fuck that is. Do you know? Well, I'll save you the trouble for the slow kids in the back. The Boston Tea Party, and I'm not gonna be able to quote it verbatim, but and I'm gonna put it in my own words. It's not gonna be like every single detail about it, but I can tell you the gist of the Boston Tea Party. The King of England wanted to tax even more of the 13 colonies, which already taxed itself, mind you. So England had an England tax that was for England. The 13 colonies had a tax that was for the 13 colonies at the time, as well as the England tax. So they were getting taxed twice for the same thing because they were in the colonies. And over in England, they were only getting taxed once for the same thing. Well, tea back then, it's kind of like alcohol, I'd say would be now, maybe the equivalent. I don't know, there might be something else, but I mean, tea is tea, but back then, more people drank tea versus more people drank liquor. Okay, so now people in Boston dressed up as Native Americans and went out there and took all of the boxes and crates of this tea and dumped it right in the fucking harbor. Basically, a middle finger to the king and his tax, which that was a chain of events that led after that happened, that the Revolutionary War happened. I mean, which didn't really end when we signed our independence. We still had, war between England up until the 1800s. We fought England for quite a few decades after that. And then you fast forward a couple decades after the end of that conflict between us and England after the Revolutionary War, and we have the Civil War. And then you fast forward a couple decades after the end of the Civil War, we have World War One. Then a couple more decades, and we have World War Two. And then 2 decades later, we have Nam. Oh, I'm sorry. World War II, and then 1 decade later we have the Cold War conflict, which wasn't much of a war, or a conflict, but you still have to add that in there because we all paid taxes into that, But also right before right before the World War II, our stock market crashed. Our economy crashed in America. And then we had World War II. And then we fought the Cold War. And then we fought, the next decade after that, we fought Vietnam. And then we didn't have anything happening like that in the 70s. Or no. The Russian missile crisis, wasn't that during the... I gotta look up and see what days what time frame that happened, because I'm positive it happened after Nam. Probably in the 70s, closer to that decade. We've had a conflict every decade since the end of World War II. You ever heard of the military and industrial complex? Right there. Right fucking there. Look at the history. Look at where our government has led us since the stock market crash of 1929. About, like a decade later, we were fighting World War II. Decade after that, we were fighting the Cold War. Decade after that, we had Vietnam. We fought a war almost every decade. We've had a conflict of some sort overseas almost every decade since the 1930s. So for about 100 fucking years now. There might be 1 or 2 decades here and there in between that century that we didn't have any war. So what the fuck am I paying taxes for? What, for war? Then we need to do something with this government. We need to take this government back by force, like our ancestors did, before this government takes us out of the equation and we become a third world country. We're very fucking close to already being a third world country. Right now, I think we're a third world country here in America that are bickering about first world issues. We're not a first world country anymore. And people need to just listen to that. I don't want to hear, you don't need to say anything about that. You just need to listen. That when you hear a fact, you shut the hell up and you listen to the fact. I'm just saying, man. An apple is an apple, regardless of how many ways you dissect it and label it. It's still a fucking apple. Have a nice day and a blessed day. And please look this stuff up that I'm talking about. Look it up. Google it. Read more than one fucking article about it. Read multiple articles. It's needed. It is necessary to understand everything. I'm telling you, look this shit up. It's public fucking knowledge now. But peace out, everyone. I'll probably be making a video or something soon when I feel a little better.